Chapter 1, Pengci meets a female driver. You are listening at NovelsThe. Jiangnan City, morning, Bufan stood on the side of the road, looking at the rolling traffic with a complicated expression. Hurry up and pay the surgery fee, otherwise I guarantee that your mother will not survive today. You still have the nerve to ask for a loan. The money you borrowed from our family last time has not been repaid yet. No money. No money. What does it have to do with me whether your mother dies or not? Bufan's mother was hospitalized and urgently needed 50,000 yuan for surgery, but he couldn't raise a penny despite all his efforts, which made him anxious. It seems that the only way to raise money for my mother's surgery is to pay for my mother's surgery. Although it goes against my conscience, there is nothing I can do. I will pay it back as soon as I have the money. After making up his mind to give it a try, he looked at the road again. 50,000 yuan was not a small sum, and he had to find a better car. At this time, a red Maserati drove over, and it didn't look too fast. That's it. Bufan quickly took 2 steps forward and rushed to the front of the Maserati. He had seen several cases of car accidents on the internet and was familiar with the procedures of car accidents. When the driver saw him suddenly appearing, he would slam on the brakes, and when the car stopped, he would immediately lie under the wheel of the car and ask for money, but I never expected that the reaction of this Maserati was different from what I expected, and it didn't follow the routine at all. The driver was a very beautiful girl. When she saw a person suddenly appearing in front of the car, she screamed in fright. Instead of pressing the brakes, she let go of the steering wheel with both hands and covered her eyes. Here, what's going on? Why are you covering your eyes if you don't step on the brakes? Also, what's the point of stepping on the accelerator? Seeing the Maserati rushing over like a wild horse, it was too late for Bufan to hide. There was a loud bang, and he was knocked flying for more than 10 meters like a kite with its string broken. He felt that all the bones in his body were broken in mid-air, and he spit out a large piece of blood. You can't have a female driver if you want to have porcelain. That was his last thought before he lost consciousness. After the accident, countless people watched, but no one noticed that the blood he spat out splashed on an ancient jade pendant on his chest, and was absorbed cleanly in an instant. Bufan was an orphan. This pendant was his only token when he was adopted by his mother, so he always wore it on his chest. He vaguely felt a warmth coming from his chest, and then there was a bang in his mind. Younger Bufan, take over the inheritance of my ancient medical school. Then an old man in green clothes with white beard and hair appeared in his sea of consciousness. I am Yi Xiaoyao, an ancient medical sect. You have my inheritance. You should abide by the rules of my ancient medical sect, hang a pot to help the world, and practice medicine all over the world. This chapter is not finished, please turn the page. Subsequently, countless information was integrated into his brain, including martial arts techniques, medical techniques, xianmen techniques, and various skills. After the influx of this information, it immediately merged with his memory, and it was extremely clear, as if it was innate. At the same time, the ancient jade pendant on his chest became hotter and hotter, and eventually turned into a strong flow of air and injected it into his body. After the air flowed into the body, his muscles and bones were quickly strengthened, and the severe injuries he had just suffered were repaired one by one. A feeling of extreme comfort came, and Bufan quickly fell into a deep sleep. After an unknown amount of time, he regained consciousness and opened his eyes to see the white surroundings. This was in a hospital ward. What happened just now? Is it a dream? He subconsciously touched his chest. Only a red rope remained on the pendant on his chest, and the ancient jade had disappeared. It was obvious that he had been hit hard by the Maserati, but now he felt no pain at all. On the contrary, his condition was better than ever, and every muscle fiber was full of strength. The medical skills, mystical skills, and martial arts skills learned in my brain were all clear, and each of them proved that it was not a dream, and that I had indeed received the inheritance of the ancient medical school. You're awake, that a surprised voice rang in his ears, and then a beautiful face appeared in front of him. This woman has long hair that hangs over her shoulders, her cheeks are so delicate that you can't find any flaws, and coupled with her graceful figure that curves forward and backward, she is really beautiful to the extreme. He couldn't help but be stunned. He had never seen such a beautiful woman in his whole life, and the beautiful female stars on TV were just like that. I'm so sorry. My name is Qin Chu Chu. I just got my driver's license yesterday. I didn't expect to hit you today. That only then did Yi Bufan remember that the apologetic girl in front of him was the owner of Maserati. He didn't have any resentment towards this girl. He took the initiative on his own initiative and couldn't blame her. On the contrary, I was filled with gratitude. If I hadn't met this female driver, I wouldn't have received the inheritance of ancient medicine. Seeing that he didn't speak, Qin Chu Chu continued, don't worry, I will be responsible if you hit someone. You can rest here and I will be responsible for all the medical expenses until you are completely recovered and discharged. Seeing that the girl in front of him didn't have any of the arrogance of a rich girl, Yi Bufan's feelings increased greatly. He said, thank you, I'll be fine. I was scared to death yesterday. I actually knocked you out so far. Qin Chu Chu patted her high chest and said, strange to say, the doctor said after examination that you were fine, but you were temporarily in a coma due to concussion. This is simply a miracle. This chapter is not finished. Please turn the page. My car was sent for overhaul, but nothing happened to you. It's unbelievable. Yi Bufan was shocked when he heard the word coma, and asked eagerly, how long have I been in coma? Qin Chu Chu said, it will take almost half a day. Originally, the doctor said that it would take 24 hours for you to wake up. Half a day. Yi Bufan sat up suddenly. His mother was still dying in the hospital and he couldn't stay here any longer. Now that he has inherited the ancient medical school, no one in the world can surpass him in medical skills. He no longer needs other doctors to perform operations, and he can cure his mother's disease. In a hurry, he grabbed Qin Chu Chu's hand and asked eagerly, where is this? Qin Chu Chu was so startled by his reaction that she even forgot to withdraw her hand, and said reflexively, this is the central hospital. His mother was in Jiangnan Hospital, which was still some distance away. Yi Bufan jumped out of bed, put on his shoes and hurried out. Qin Chu Chu called from behind, hey, where are you going? The doctor wants you to have a good rest. I'm fine. Let's go straight to the hospital. After Yi Bufan finished speaking, he quickly left the central hospital and ran towards Jiangnan Hospital. When passing by a pharmacy, he bought a package of silver needles and put them in his pocket. In the ICU ward of Jiangnan Hospital, the attending Dr. Xie Haidao looked at Ouyang Lan's eyelids, then looked at the instruments on the bedside, and said to Nurse Zhang Xiaoman, the person is definitely dead, let's proceed to the next step. I understand, Dr. Xie. Zhang Xiaoman agreed, took a white sheet, and prepared to cover the deceased. Xie Haidao glanced at Ouyang Lan, who was lying on the bed. His eyes were full of indifference, without any regret or guilt. If her family can pay 50,000 yuan for the surgery and I perform the surgery myself, there may be hope of survival. It's a pity that he is a poor man who can't even come up with such a small amount of money. Without money, he can only wait to die. At this moment, Yi Bufan hurried in from outside, saw the white sheet in Zhang Xiaoman's hand and shouted, stop, what are you going to do? Zhang Xiaoman was startled, stopped what he was doing and said, the patient is dead. Nonsense, my mother is not dead. Yi Bufan obtained the inheritance of ancient medicine and understood Ouyang Lan's condition clearly at just one glance. He was now in a state of suspended animation before death and did not really die. He stepped forward and pushed Zhang Xiaoman away, took out the silver needles from his pocket, and quickly thrust the silver needles into Ouyang Lan's body one by one. Chapter 2 Sky High Drug Expenses. You are listening at NovelsThe. Xie Haidao was stunned by Yi Bufan's actions. After recognizing him, he shouted, boy, everyone is dead, why are you messing around? Pretending to be filial, right? If you had such filial piety, you would have paid 50,000 yuan for surgery earlier, and your mother would not have died. You still like to pretend that you have no money. What I despise the most is people like you. He was chattering beside him, but Yi Bufan ignored him and concentrated on performing acupuncture on Ouyang Lan. Boy, what about you, did you hear me? Seeing that the young man in front of him ignored him, Xie Haidao suddenly became angry and shouted again, are you a doctor? Get a broken needle and prick it here randomly. Do you want your mother to die without being able to live in peace? Let me tell you, this is the ICU ward, and the charges are based on hourly rates. The medical bills owed before have not been paid off, so what are you doing here? Stop it now. Yi Bufan finally inserted the last needle out and let out a sigh of relief. My mother suffered from sudden cerebral hemorrhage. This kind of disease is nothing to ancient medicine. Fortunately, she came back in time. If she had delayed for a while, it would have been too late. Xie Haitao shouted, boy, have you had enough trouble? You were also charged during this period. Then he said to Zhang Xiaoman, call the funeral home right away and ask them to take the body away. Yi Bufan said coldly, you quack, what are you talking nonsense about? My mother is still alive, Xie Haitao said with disdain, alive? Do you have a mental problem? If your mother can survive, I will give you the position of chief doctor. As he was talking, suddenly the monitoring equipment at the bedside made a beeping sound, and then resumed work. Yang Lan actually had a heartbeat, once, twice. It was a little slow at first, but it soon returned to normal. What's going on? Xie Haitao and Zhang Xiaoman were both dumbfounded. This person really had no vital signs just now. How could he suddenly come back to life? If this wasn't the ICU ward, they would have thought it was a fake corpse. Seeing that the fire was almost done, Yi Bufan raised his hand to take back all the silver needles on his mother's body, and removed the monitoring equipment one by one. After he finished doing this, Yang Lanting sat up from the bed, looked around and said, son, where am I? Mom, you finally woke up. Yi Bufan excitedly took Yang Lan's hand. If they hadn't happened to get the inheritance of ancient medicine, their mother and son would really be yin and yang. This chapter is not finished, please turn the page. Point 2 separated. Xie Haitao's eyes widened for a moment and he couldn't believe what he was seeing. He knew Yang Lan's condition best. Even if he didn't die, he wouldn't be able to recover so quickly. Yang Lan said, son, what's going on? Mom remembers fainting suddenly. Am I sick? Will it cost a lot of money? It's okay, Mom, you're fine. Let's go home now. Yi Bufan not only cured his mother's cerebral hemorrhage, but also sorted out other hidden diseases in the body. Yang Lan is definitely healthier than anyone else now, so there is no need to stay here any longer. Okay, let's go. I already told you that you don't need to come to the hospital for a minor problem. Just take a rest and you'll be fine. Yang Lan raised Yi Bufan's brother and sister by herself, and lived a miserable life. What she feared most was spending money in the hospital. After saying that, she got out of bed and left with Yi Bufan. Stop. You can't leave yet. Xie Haitao opened his mouth and stood in front of the two of them. Yi Bufan frowned. What are you going to do? Xie Haitao said, you can leave if you want, but you have to pay off the medical expenses first. Yang Lan said, oh, yes, how much does it cost, doctor? Xie Haitao said, 39,008. What, so much money? Yang Lan was shocked. If Yi Bufan hadn't helped her improve her health just now, she would have fallen on the hospital bed again. Yi Bufan said angrily, I rescued my mother myself, why do I need so much money? Ours is an ICU ward, and we charge per hour. Plus the rescue drugs, that's how much it costs. Xie Haitao said and threw a stack of medication details to Yang Lan, look, we spent a lot of manpower and medicine to rescue you. Otherwise, you would have died long ago. How could you be standing here talking? Yang Lan took the bill. She didn't understand medicine at all. All she could understand was the shocking and sky-high figures on it. Yi Bufan glanced at it and his expression immediately darkened. Are you sure these are medicines for my mother? That he is a third-year student at Jiangnan Medical University. Although he has not graduated, he still understands some routine medications. Xie Haitao said, of course, pay the money quickly. Yi Bufan became furious, grabbed his neck and pushed him hard against the wall. How can a person like you, even if you are incompetent, still have such a dark heart, be worthy of the title of doctor? This chapter is not finished, please turn the page. Xie Haitao's neck was stuck and he suddenly felt difficulty breathing, but no matter how hard he struggled, Yi Bufan's big hands remained motionless like iron pliers. Yang Lan and Zhang Xiaoman were both shocked. They didn't understand where Yi Bufan could get so angry, so they hurried over to dissuade him. Zhang Xiaoman stepped forward and pulled Yi Bufan's arm, only to find that the arm, which did not look strong, was like a mountain and could not be shaken at all. "Son, let go quickly. It's against the law to hit someone." Seeing Ouyang Lan step forward to dissuade him, Yi Bufan let go. Cough, cough, cough. Xie Haitao finally breathed in the fresh air, panting heavily. Ouyang Lan said, "Son, what's going on? Why are you so angry?" Yi Bufan said angrily, "This shady doctor asked me to pay 50,000 yuan for surgery before, but he refused to save me if he couldn't pay. Just now, the quack doctor misdiagnosed you as death. This is a disregard for human life. Now you are committing fraud and prescribing drugs indiscriminately. Most of these drugs are not for you, but you come to us to collect money. How can a person like him be qualified to be a doctor?" At this time, Xie Haitao came back and shouted, "Nonsense, these are rescue medicines for your mother. You must pay today, otherwise I will send you all to the police station." Yi Bufan took the charge details and said, "You don't understand bullying, do you? My mother suffered from severe cerebral hemorrhage, but what's the matter with Zishuantang on this prescription? What's the matter with ginseng rong injection? Also, your injections add up to more than 25 kilograms. Could it be that all of these were used on my mother? Even an elephant can't bear the infusion of 25 kilograms in less than 24 hours, right?" Xie Haitao was completely dumbfounded and speechless for a moment. Originally, he thought that the mother and son didn't understand anything, so they prescribed a lot of medicine randomly. Firstly, he can get commission from the hospital, and secondly, he can make another fortune by selling these medicines. He often did this in the past, but he didn't expect that Yi Bufan would see through it today. Just when he didn't know what to do, the door to the emergency room suddenly opened, and a middle-aged man ran in carrying a little boy about 10 years old on his back. The middle-aged man shouted, "Doctor, look what's wrong with my son." The nurse who was following him stepped forward and said to Xie Haitao, "Director Xie, this is a patient arranged by Director Zhou of the Health Bureau. He told us that we must do our best to treat him." Chapter 3 You Don't Deserve to be a Doctor. You are listening at NovelsThe. Put the child on the hospital bed quickly and get first aid immediately. Hearing that the matter was told by the top leader of the Municipal Health Bureau, Xie Haitao did not dare to neglect at all and asked the middle-aged man to put the little boy on the ICU bed. Seeing that the little boy's face was livid, his breathing was rapid, he had fallen into a coma, and his condition was very bad, Yi Bufan didn't say anything more. "The matter of medicine expenses will be settled sooner or later, so there is no rush." Xie Haitao asked while examining the little boy, "How did the child get sick?" The middle-aged man said, "My son was fine when he was out of school, but after a while he said he felt unwell. He soon developed a fever, and the fever was extremely serious, and then he fell into a coma. After the examination, Xie Haitao said, "Don't worry, it's just a common cold, but the fever is a bit severe. I'll give him some antipyretics now, and he will be fine soon." Because he didn't know the relationship between the other party and Director Zhou, he spoke extremely politely. The middle-aged man breathed a sigh of relief. "That's great, please excuse me, doctor." Xie Haitao took the antipyretic medicine prepared by Zhang Xiaoman and was about to inject it into the little boy. Yi Bufan shook his head and said, "He doesn't have a cold at all. If you use the anti-fever injection, it will make the condition worse." "What do you know? Do you treat the disease or do I? If you don't understand, don't talk nonsense." Having just been exposed for his dirty deeds, Xie Haitao had been holding back a lot of anger, but he immediately let it out. After speaking, he picked up the syringe and injected an antipyretic medicine into the little boy himself. As time went by, a trace of blood slowly appeared on the little boy's face, and it seemed that the pain had lessened a lot. Xie Haitao said with a complacent look on his face, "You see, I told you it was just a small cold, nothing happened." The middle-aged man breathed a sigh of relief, nodded repeatedly and said, "Yes, yes, yes, Dr. Xie is worthy of being the director, and his medical skills are excellent." But at this moment, the little boy's immature face suddenly became distorted, his limbs began to twitch, his mouth kept foaming, and the bedside instrument made a piercing sound, blood pressure drops, heartbeat slows down rapidly, and life seems to be in danger at any time. The middle-aged man immediately shouted nervously, "Doctor, what's going on? What's wrong with my son?" Xie Haitao was also shocked. According to his diagnosis, the little boy had a common cold. How could this happen suddenly? The middle-aged man shouted anxiously, "Doctor, please think of a solution quickly, I only have one son." Xie Haitao was at a loss for a moment. He couldn't do it at all. "This chapter is not finished, please turn the page, that if you know what is going on, how can you figure it out?" Seeing that the little boy's condition was getting more and more critical, the middle-aged man yelled angrily, "You quack doctor, my son has a shortcoming and you have to pay for it with his life. Let me do it. Yi Bufan has obtained the inheritance of ancient medicine, so he cannot ignore death." He came to the hospital bed and said, "I told you that you were wrong. This is not a cold at all, but poisoning." After speaking, he took out the silver needles from his pocket and pierced the little boy's chest one by one. "What are you doing?" Xie Haitao was about to step forward to stop him, but suddenly his heart moved. He stopped and shouted, "If you interfere with my treatment of patients, you will be responsible for any consequences." Seeing that this little boy is about to die, if he really kills people, not only will he not be able to keep his title as director, but he may also have to go to jail. But things are different now, and we can completely push this responsibility away. Yi Bufan ignored it at all and continued to give the little boy acupuncture to drive away the poison. If you observe carefully, you will find that the tails of these silver needles tremble slightly after they are inserted into the acupuncture points, as if there is some power to make them vibrate. The middle-aged man asked, "Is this also the doctor in your emergency room?" Xie Haitao said, "He is not a doctor, he is just a family member of the patient. Originally, I could cure this disease, but now that he has made it like this, it has nothing to do with me." The middle-aged man jumped up immediately. "What qualifications do you, a family member of a patient, have to treat my son?" He said that he was about to come over and fight, but suddenly he found that the little boy's twitching limbs stopped, and he stopped foaming at the mouth. His face slowly turned rosy, and even the monitoring equipment on the bedside returned to normal. What is going on?" That everyone was stunned, especially Xie Haitao. He thought Yi Bufan cured Ouyang Lan by mistake, but he didn't expect that even the little boy was saved. In any case, no one was killed, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. The middle-aged man asked, "Little miracle doctor, what is my son's disease?" Yi Bufan said, "He is infected with some kind of virus." "Has he been in contact with unclean things recently, such as mice or other animals that carry a lot of germs?" The middle-aged man said, "Probably not. He didn't go out today and has been in school." Seeing that the time was almost up, Yi Bufan took out a silver needle and pricked the little boy's 2 index fingers, squeezed out 2 drops of black blood from the fingers, and dripped into the trash can next to him. Then he counted all the silver needles. "This chapter is not finished, please turn the page." Withdrawing it, the little boy opened his eyes and sat up from the bed, looking around with a blank expression. Seeing that his son woke up, the middle-aged man exclaimed in surprise, "Miracle doctor, what a miracle doctor." Yi Bufan said, "I have drained out the poisonous blood. If I go back and drink some mung bean water, I will be completely fine. Never let your children come into contact with those unclean wild animals in the future. Little miracle doctor, thank you for saving my son." The middle-aged man took out 2 stacks of $100 bills and stuffed them into Yi Bufan's hand. "Little miracle doctor, thank you." Yi Bufan was not polite and took the money and gave it to Ouyang Lan. "This is the rule of the ancient medical school. The fee for consultation depends on the circumstances. Even if the other party gives you a mountain of gold, it is not too much, and even if you don't give a penny, it is not too little." Ouyang Lan still hasn't come to his senses yet. Why did his son become a miracle doctor after he fell ill once? So much money was made in the blink of an eye. The middle-aged man carried the little boy on his back, turned around and spat harshly at Xie Haitao, "A quack doctor, you're still a chief doctor, bullshit." Xie Haitao was suffocated and angry. He looked at Yi Bufan and shouted, "Are you a doctor? Who asked you to treat diseases? Shouldn't you be thanking me?" Yi Bufan said, a person like you who has neither medical ethics nor medical skills is really not worthy of being a doctor. I want you to take care of it. You are practicing medicine illegally. Believe it or not, I will call the police and arrest you. While Xie Haitao was talking, Director of the Health Bureau Zhou Yongliang and Director of Jiangnan Hospital Ma Haidong walked in from the door. Seeing the leader coming, he threatened in a low voice, "Boy, please shut up. Illegal medical practice is a serious crime. You will be imprisoned for at least 5 or 6 years. I will help you deal with it now." After saying that, he ran over with a flattering look on his face. Director Zhou and Dean Ma, the two leaders are here. Zhou Yongliang asked, "Where is the patient I assigned?" "Is he here?" Xie Haitao said. "Are you talking about the child with a fever?" "I have cured him and just left our place." As he spoke, he felt relieved. It seemed that the little boy's father did not have a direct conversation with Director Zhou, so it would be easier to handle. Zhou Yongliang asked with a surprised look on his face, "Did you cure it?" That he knew Xie Haitao, but his impression was that he was just an ordinary chief physician, and he did not realize how superb his medical skills were. "Yes, Director Zhou, I cured it." As Xie Haitao spoke, he turned back and gave Yi Bufan a warning look. Seeing how shameless this guy was, Yi Bufan was about to step forward to expose him, but was stopped by Ouyang Lan. She knew that her son did not have a medical qualification certificate and would be in trouble if he really entered the Public Security Bureau. Chapter 4 Impersonation. You are listening at NovelsThe. Zhou Yongliang asked again, "Is it a temporary relief of symptoms or a complete cure?" Xie Haitao said, "A complete cure, absolutely a complete cure. The child has no problems now, and the family is very satisfied with the treatment effect." "Dr. Xie, I didn't expect your medical skills to be so good." Zhou Yongliang didn't know what the truth was, so he said to Ma Haidong with a smile on his face, "Dean Ma, there are experts in your hospital." Xie Haitao said with a smile on his face, "Director Zhou praised me. As a doctor, this is my job." He said he was humble, but he was actually very happy in his heart. Being recognized by the top leader of the Health Bureau, he would have a bright future in the future. There is still a vacancy for the vice president in the hospital. "If it is not filled, it will be yours." Zhou Yongliang said nothing more, took out his mobile phone and dialed a phone number. "Mr. Dong, I have good news for you. Dr. Xie from Jiangnan Hospital has cured this disease. Please bring your son over right away." Then he made another call. Deputy Director Zhao, immediately notify several other hospitals to transfer children with this special disease to Jiangnan Hospital. Dr. Xie Haitao here has found an effective treatment. Xie Haitao was completely dumbfounded when he heard this. He thought it was just such a special case and he would just take the credit and be done with it, but he didn't expect that there would be so many follow-up patients. Ma Haidong didn't know what happened specifically, so he asked, "Director Zhou, what's going on? How come there are so many identical cases?" Zhou Yongliang said, "These sick children are all students from Jiangnan Central Primary School. One child picked up a bat this afternoon, and 12 children who had been exposed to the bat all developed symptoms of high fever and coma. It was initially determined that he was infected with a new type of virus. This virus has not been recorded in the National Virus Database, and there is no effective medicine. I sent the sick children to major hospitals in Jiangnan City for treatment, hoping that someone could cure this disease. Other hospitals did not find any effective treatment. Unexpectedly, Dr. Xie successfully cured that case and the effect was so good. Jiangnan Hospital made a great contribution this time." He then said to Xie Haitao, "Dr. Xie, as long as you cure all these children, I will give you a great credit." Well. Cold sweat broke out on Xie Haitao's forehead. He had just claimed credit for Yi Bufan's work. How could he know how to cure this disease? This chapter is not finished, please turn the page. Seeing his expression, Ma Haidong asked, "What's wrong, Dr. Xie, is there a problem?" No. No problem. Even now, Xie Haitao can't say that he is an imposter, so he can only grit his teeth and endure. He had also studied some Chinese medicine before and knew a little bit about acupuncture. Moreover, He was right next to Bufan when he was treating the little boy, and he clearly remembered the acupuncture points. I believe that acupuncture using the same technique should be able to cure this condition. Thinking of this, he felt much more at ease. At this time, Ma Haidong saw Bufan and Ouyang Lan standing nearby and asked, "What's going on with these two people?" Xie Haidao hurriedly said, "They are newly cured patients and their families, waiting to discuss the medical expenses with me." Ma Haidong said, "If you have something to discuss outside, this is the ICU ward. Outsiders are not allowed to come in casually." Yes, I will let them out now." Xie Haitao turned around and said, "The medical expenses can be discussed. I will tell you when I finish my work and go out." The implication is that as long as he is not exposed on the spot, the medicine expenses will be easy to talk about. A sneer appeared at the corner of Bufan's mouth. He originally wanted to expose this guy, but now he was in no rush. If you want to take credit from yourself, you have to have that ability. Wait and see how he ends up. He took his mother outside the ICU ward and found a bench to sit down on. Ouyang Lan said, "Son, we have 20,000 yuan in hand. Let's talk to Dr. Xie later and see if we can use this money to pay off the medical expenses." Bufan said, "No, he is charging excessively. We can't tolerate his problem and won't pay a penny." As the mother and son were talking, there was a sudden sound of brakes at the door of the hospital, and two black luxury cars stopped in front of the door. A middle-aged man got out of the car, and 4 bodyguards in black behind him were carrying a stretcher. On the stretcher lay an unconscious little boy. "Mr. Dong, you are here." After seeing the middle-aged man, Zhou Yongliang greeted him enthusiastically. Although he is the leader of the bureau, the identity of the other party is also unusual. Dong Tianda, the chairman of Jiangnan Tianda Group, is a big boss in the catering industry. The Tianda Group has a decisive influence. From the top-notch Yushanfang restaurant to the popular food stalls in Jiangnan City, half of them are owned by the Dong family. This chapter is not finished, please turn the page. Dong Tianda not only has billions of assets, but also has an extraordinary background. His annual donation to the health industry is 7 figures. Zhou Yongliang was naturally extremely polite to such a big shot. However, at this time, Dong Tianda was not in a polite mood at all, and said anxiously, "Director Zhou, quickly find a doctor to treat my son. He already has a high fever of 40 degrees. I'm afraid that too much time will affect the child's intelligence." "Don't worry, Mr. Dong, everything is ready." Zhou Yongliang asked the nurse to put the little boy on the emergency bed, then turned to Xie Haitao and said, "Dr. Xie, please treat Mr. Dong quickly." "Yes, Director." Xie Haitao agreed and came over. Dong Tianda said, "Dr. Xie, as long as you can cure my son, Tianda Group will be very grateful." "Mr. Dong, you're welcome. It's my duty to treat illnesses and save people." Xie Haitao spoke grandly, but his heart was filled with joy. His good luck has come. As long as he can cure Dong Tianda's son, he will not only be appreciated by the leader, but also gain indispensable benefits. This is fame and fortune. While dreaming sweetly, he took out the prepared silver needle and came to the little boy's bed. Ma Haidong asked in surprise, "Dr. Xie, what are you going to do?" Xie Haitao said, "Dean, at present, there is no effective Western medicine for this kind of infected virus, and it can only be treated with acupuncture." Zhou Yongliang said in surprise, "Dr. Xie, are you still proficient in Chinese medicine?" "I can't say I'm proficient. I happen to read an acupuncture method in a medical book that can cure this disease." Zhou Yongliang praised, "Dr. Xie is indeed extraordinary. He is proficient in both Chinese and Western medicine. Please hurry up and treat him. The next child will probably arrive soon." Xie Haitao took a deep breath and replayed in his mind the scene where Bufan had just performed the acupuncture. Then he took out a silver needle and stabbed it towards the Shenzong point on the little boy's chest. The little boy's body trembled when one needle was inserted. The second silver needle was inserted, and the expression on his face became extremely painful. Dong Tianda said nervously, "Dr. Xie, are you sure this method will work?" Xie Haitao gritted his teeth and said, "It will definitely work. The case just now was cured in this way." Seeing that Dong Tianda didn't speak anymore, he took out the third silver needle and stabbed it towards the tienta point on the little boy's chest. Chapter 5 The Truth Comes Out. You are listening at NovelsThe. Unexpectedly, after the third silver needle was inserted, the little boy immediately began to foam at the mouth, twitched all over, and his face became as pale as a death. At the same time, the monitoring equipment at the bedside made a harsh beeping sound, the blood pressure dropped, and the heartbeat slowed down rapidly. It was obvious that he was in a critical state of life and death. Seeing the scene in front of him, Xie Haitao was dumbfounded. He no longer had the courage to pierce the fourth silver needle in his hand. Dong Tianda said angrily, "What's going on? Do you know how to treat diseases? Why did you treat my son like this?" Zhou Yongliang also said nervously, "Dr. Xie, what is going on? Was this the same when you cured the case just now?" "Director, I. Xie Haitao was covered in cold sweat and was too anxious to speak. He was also confused and didn't know what was going on. He just remembered clearly that this was how Yi Bufan treated the little boy. How come it not only didn't work in his own hands, but actually worsened the condition? Seeing that his son's condition was getting more and more critical, Dong Tianda roared, "Stop talking nonsense and treat my son quickly. Yeah, why are you still whining? Hurry up and find a way to save people." Ma Haidong was also extremely anxious. If Xie Haitao really executed Dong Tianda's son, I'm afraid that he, the dean, would also be done. Xie Haitao had no choice but to pull out all three inserted silver needles, but the little boy's condition still did not improve. Dong Tianda jumped up anxiously, "Xie, I only have a son like this. If he really wants to have something wrong, I will kill you immediately." Zhou Yongliang said angrily, "Xie Haitao, didn't you just cure a patient? Why can't you do it now?" "Me." Xie Haitao's whole body was soaked with cold sweat. He hesitated for a long time, but could not even say a complete sentence. Ma Haidong felt that something was wrong, and said to Zhang Xiaoman next to him, "Tell me, what is going on?" Zhang Xiaoman hesitated for a moment, and finally said, "The person who cured that child was not Dr. Xie at all, but the family member of the patient named Yi Bufan outside." Seeing that the matter had been completely exposed, Xie Haitao's legs weakened and he collapsed to the ground. After learning the truth, Dong Tianda immediately rushed out of the emergency room. Now no matter who it is, as long as he can save his son, this chapter is not finished. Please turn the page. That's it. Rushing to Yi Bufan, he said urgently, "Young man, please save my son, whatever the conditions are." Can. Yi Bufan was not surprised by this result, and the little boy's situation was urgent and there could be no further delay. He asked Ouyang Lan to go back and rest first, and then followed Dong Tianda into the emergency room. After entering the door, he glanced at Xie Haitao, who was lying limply on the ground. He came to the little boy's bed, took out the silver needle and started acupuncture treatment. Originally, the monitoring equipment at the bedside kept emitting piercing alarm sounds, but as the silver needles penetrated one by one, the equipment stopped beeping. At the same time, the little boy no longer twitched and foamed at the mouth, his face slowly returned to rosy, and his breathing calmed down. The second time he treated this kind of case, Yi Bufan was already familiar with it. He quickly pricked the little boy's fingertip and squeezed out 2 drops of poisonous blood. When he took back the silver needle, the data of various monitoring instruments on the bedside returned to normal. The little boy opened his eyes and sat up from the bed. Miraculous doctor. What a miraculous doctor. Dong Tianda took Yi Bufan's hand and said, "Little miraculous doctor, we are the 3rd generation of the Dong family. If you save my son, you will save our entire Dong family. The most indispensable thing in our Dong family is restaurants. My brother just built a new big restaurant, so he gave it as a medical fee to his little brother. I will go through the transfer procedures for you when I get back." Although Yi Bufan was just a poor boy before, he gained the inheritance of ancient medicine and was not surprised by Dong Tianda's performance. After all, no matter how much money you have, it cannot be compared with human life. Ancient medical schools treated people, and someone once sent a city as a medical fee. Seeing that they had earned a restaurant as soon as they made a move, Zhou Yongliang and Ma Haidong both looked envious in their eyes. Dong Tianda is an extremely shrewd businessman, and he did not do this impulsively. Being able to make friends with a miracle doctor is equivalent to having an extra life at a critical moment. After all, no matter how much money you have, you must have a life to enjoy it. In his opinion, just spending some money is not enough to make friends with an expert like Yi Bufan, so he made this big deal. Now seeing Yi Bufan's indifferent expression, he was even more sure of his inner thoughts. He left Yi Bufan's phone number, then took out a business card and said, "Little brother, if you need anything in the future, just call me." Dong Tianda expressed his thanks repeatedly and left with his children, followed by other patients one after another with their children. This chapter is not finished, please turn the page. When they arrived at Jiangnan Hospital, they were treated one by Yi Bufan. Seeing that the last sick child had been treated, Zhou Yongliang breathed a sigh of relief. This incident had a great impact on the entire Jiangnan city, and the city's top officials were paying attention. Now Jiangnan Hospital has successfully treated all the infected children, which can be regarded as earning him enough face. "Xiaoye, you have helped me a lot this time. If you need my help in any way, just ask." Yi Bufan put away the silver needle, glanced at Xie Haitao next to him and said, "Director Zhou, I really need your help with something." Zhou Yongliang said, "If you have anything to say, just tell me." As if sensing what Yi Bufan was about to say, Xie Haitao looked at him with a pleading look on his face, but Yi Bufan didn't even look at it. He took out the charge details and said, "Director Zhou, Director Ma, this is the charge details that Dr. Xie gave my mother just now. My mother was admitted to the hospital last night and has spent 39,800 yuan in less than 24 hours. It was obviously a severe cerebral hemorrhage, but the medicine included antithrombotic drugs and drugs for treating heart disease, but there were no aphrodisiacs. There are also infusions. The total weight of these hanging bottles is at least 25 kilograms. Even if they are injected into a cow, they may not be able to bear it, right? Up to now, I still owe the hospital more than 30,000 yuan in medical expenses. What should you do?" Zhou Yongliang and Ma Haidong both came from the medical system, and they could see the fishiness in the charge details at a glance. "Asshole, what a good thing you did." Ma Haidong grabbed the charge receipt and threw it hard on Xie Haidao's face. "Just now, you cheated and claimed the credit of little brother Yi, and now you have made so many messy things. People like you are not qualified to be doctors at all. From now on, you are fired." Xie Haitao was completely dumbfounded at this time, and said with a pleading look on his face, "Dean, please give me another chance. I will never dare to do it again in the future." Yi Bufan said, "Dean Ma, this behavior of secretly carrying drugs and charging arbitrary fees seems to have violated the law, right? I think it is more appropriate to hand it over to the police. And it should be more than just this time. There must have been many others before, and we need to find out all of them." Zhou Yongliang said, "Brother Yi is right. This kind of people are worms in the medical field. The reputation of doctors has been ruined by them. We must get to the bottom of it and hand it over to the police." Chapter 6 Why Should I Pity You? You are listening at NovelsThe. No, absolutely don't. I have an elder and a younger child at home. If I are sent to the police station, it will really be over. Xie Haitao was completely panicked, fell to his knees with a plop, and begged, "Director Zhou, Dean Ma, little brother Yi, please have mercy on me." Zhou Yongliang and Ma Haidong looked at Yi Bufan together, obviously asking him to make a decision. Facing Xie Haitao, who was crying with snot and tears, Yi Bufan didn't have any mercy in his eyes. He couldn't help but feel angry when he thought that he would risk his life to pay for his mother's medical expenses. "You said you asked me to pity you. Have you ever pitied those helpless patients and their families? Do you know how they got the money? That's all hard-earned money from selling houses and land, money used to save the lives of relatives. In the end, you casually wrote out an order and robbed it. Is this 10 times more heinous than a robber? Why should I pity you? Xie Haitao was speechless and collapsed on the ground like mud. Seeing Yi Bufan's attitude, Zhou Yongliang said coldly, "Go to the Public Security Bureau and surrender. Maybe you will be given leniency." Ma Haidong waved his hand, called 2 security guards to drag him out, and then said with an apologetic look, "Brother Yi, I'm really sorry, I didn't expect that there would be such a moth in our hospital. In order to express apology, your mother's medical expenses are all exempted. At the same time, the hospital will provide another 30,000 yuan as a thank you fee for your help this time. Yi Bufan nodded. The hospital's attitude was very sincere, so he said nothing more. Zhou Yongliang said, Brother Yi, where do you work? How come you have such superb medical skills? Yi Bufan said, I haven't graduated yet, I'm in my 3rd year at Jiangnan Medical University, and I learned Chinese medicine from my master. Zhou Yongliang asked, which national master of traditional Chinese medicine is your master? Yi Bufan said, my master's name is Yi Xiaoyao. He is an expert hermit. Not many people know his name. Oh, Zhou Yongliang said nothing. He had never heard of a famous doctor named Yi Xiaoyao in the health field for so many years. Ma Haidong said, Brother Yi, are you interested in becoming a doctor in our hospital? As long as you are willing to come, I will immediately make you the chief physician to take over Xie Haidao's position. Jiangnan Hospital is one of the top hospitals in Jiangnan City. It is impossible for ordinary medical university graduates to find a job here. This chapter is not finished, please turn the page. They send out a chief physician immediately, which shows how much they value Yi Bufan's medical skills. Zhou Yongliang smiled and said, Dean Ma, you are really hungry for talents. Ma Haidong said, Brother Yi has great medical skills. I feel wronged by him as the chief physician, but I only have such great authority. In the eyes of the two of them, the young man in front of them would definitely agree to such a generous treatment, but to their surprise, Yi Bufan shook his head and said, Dean Ma, I appreciate your kindness, but your hospital is a Western hospital, and I study traditional Chinese medicine. It is really inappropriate to come to your hospital. Ma Haidong said, it doesn't matter. As long as Brother Yi is willing to come over, I can set up a separate Chinese medicine clinic for you. He really took a fancy to Yi Bufan's medical skills. With such a Dinghai Shenzhen, the hospital would be able to solve difficult and complicated diseases like today's and the future. Yi Bufan shook his head again, Dean Ma, I am indeed not suitable to work here. What he wants to do is to promote traditional Chinese medicine. The hospital has too many regulations and is not suitable for personal development. In contrast, he prefers to open his own traditional Chinese medicine clinic. Deep disappointment flashed in Ma Haidong's eyes. Okay, little brother, if you change your mind at any time, I'll be waiting here at any time. He then called the hospital's office director and waived all Ouyang Lan's medical expenses, and also took another 30,000 yuan as a thank you fee. Yi Bufan collected the money and left Jiangnan Hospital. It was already past 9 o'clock in the evening. He first called Ouyang Lan to report that he was safe, and then called his girlfriend Zhu Linlin's phone number. An electronic prompt came from the phone, sorry, the phone you dialed has been turned off. Yi Bufan sighed. Zhu Linlin disappeared since the holiday. She couldn't see anyone and couldn't get through the phone. She didn't know what happened. Although summer vacation is now on, the small bun shop rented by his mother is only a dozen square meters, so it is very inconvenient to go back. He has been living in school these days, back in the dormitory. He was the only one living here, everyone else had gone home. After a brief wash, he sat cross-legged on the bed and began to practice the Chaos Heart Sutra passed down by the ancient medical school. According to ancient medical records, the Chaos Heart Sutra was passed down by Shenong, the originator of medicine. It is an extremely superior cultivation method, and it is also more suitable for curing diseases and saving people. After he started practicing, he felt a ray of warm qi rising from his dantian and traveling through his body according to the path of the Heart Sutra. As time goes by, this ray of true energy becomes more and more. This chapter is not finished, please turn the page. Stronger and more comfortable physically. Early the next morning, the fiery red sun slowly rose from the east. Yi Bufan slowly opened his eyes, a gleam of light flashing in his eyes. At this moment, his heart was full of excitement. After a night of practice, the Chaos Heart Sutra had reached the 9th level of the Qi refining stage, and was only one step away from foundation building. What surprised him most was that after reaching the 9th level, he gained spiritual consciousness. Even if he closed his eyes, he could see things within a 2-meter radius. Moreover, his spiritual consciousness has a see-through function. Not only can walls not block his sight, he can also see through people's bodies. At this moment, his meridians, bones, and blood flow can all be seen clearly. He knew that the reason why his cultivation had advanced so quickly was entirely due to the spiritual energy transformed from the ancient jade pendant, but now that there is a lack of spiritual energy on the earth, it will be difficult to improve in the future. Fortunately, I have obtained the inheritance of ancient medicine and can help myself improve my cultivation by refining elixirs. Bufan got out of bed, washed briefly, ate some breakfast, and left the school gate refreshed, ready to find a pharmacy to buy the medicinal materials for refining the foundation building pill. Not far from Jiangnan Medical University, there is a 20-story office building, which is luxuriously decorated without losing its grandeur. This is the headquarters of Qin Group. Qin Group is a well-known enterprise in Jiangnan City with strong strength. There is a small square of several hundred square meters in front of the office building. When Bufan passed by, many people gathered in the square and were watching something. He glanced at it and saw a red Porsche 911 parked in the middle of the square. In front of the Porsche was a heart-to-heart pattern of 999 roses. A young man in his 20s stood in front of the car in a suit and leather tie. His hair was meticulously styled, and he was holding a handful of blue witches in his hand. He seemed to be waiting to confess his love to someone. The young man looked somewhat handsome, but Bufan could tell at a glance that this man was pale, lacking energy, typical of excessive indulgence, and his body had been completely drained by alcohol and sex. At this moment, a fragrant and soft object hit me. Bufan quickly turned his head and saw a woman wearing OL professional attire. Her attention seemed to be attracted to the young man in the square, and the two bumped into each other. Fortunately, the speed of the two people was not fast, and the woman took 2 steps back and stabilized her body. Sorry. Both of them knew that they had not paid attention to the road and apologized to each other in unison. Then they all exclaimed, "Why is it you?" Chapter 7 Pretending to be a Boyfriend. You are listening at NovelsThe. Bufan saw that the person who collided with him was Qin Chu, and couldn't help but laugh. "Why, hitting me with a car yesterday was not enough, and now you hit me with someone again." As he spoke, he secretly thought that it was much more comfortable to be hit by a person than by a car. It was soft and so flexible. Bufan couldn't help but take a look at Qin Chu's convex and concave figure. This woman looked very slender, but there was not much where there should be flesh, especially that part. The scale is really astonishing. The buttons on the chest are almost bursting. I wonder if that soft feeling just now comes from there. Qin Chu also didn't expect to meet Bufan here. After being slightly stunned, he said, "Stop talking so much, please help me. Please help me." Bufan said in astonishment, "What can I help you with? Do you want to borrow money? If you don't want to borrow money, the person who lends it to you can use it and pretend to be my boyfriend for a while." Pretending to be a boyfriend? Bufan understood immediately. Is that person chasing you? Qin Chu nodded. His name is Xiang Yintian. He has been chasing after me for a long time. It's annoying me to death. Bufan smiled and said, "Then you agree. Although he is not as handsome as me, he is still passable." Qin Chu glared. "Let me tell you something serious, do you want to help or not?" "No help, I have a girlfriend." "You." Qin Chu was so angry that his chest was heaving violently. He couldn't drive away the man who usually chased after him, but this guy seemed to be at a disadvantage as his boyfriend. But then something moved in her mind and she said, "You're not going to help, are you? I just came back from the traffic police team and have already seen the surveillance video. Yesterday's accident was not about me hitting you at all, but you hitting porcelain. Help, I don't do other people's favors, but I will definitely help you. Isn't it just pretending to be a boyfriend? What a big deal." Bufan immediately agreed. He was indeed at fault for what happened yesterday. He had caused so much damage to other people's cars, and he always felt a little bit regretful in his heart. A touch of pride appeared on Qin Chu's face, and he said, "You can help me get rid of this fly later, and I won't hold you accountable for touching porcelain." Bufan said, "No problem, leave it to me." When the two of them were talking, Xiang Yintian also noticed this side and walked over quickly holding the blue enchantress. Onlookers, this chapter is not finished, please turn the page. When they discovered that the heroine had appeared, they all retreated to both sides to make way for a passage. Chu Chu, you're here. Xiang Yintian came to Qin Chu Chu and said very gentlemanly, holding the rose in his hand, this is a flower for you. I wish you a good mood every day. I was in a good mood originally, but when I saw you, I felt bad. Qin Chu Chu didn't even look at the blue enchantress, and said unceremoniously, Xiang Yintian, I have told you how many times, it is impossible between us, and I already have a boyfriend. Xiang Yintian said, Chu Chu, please don't lie to me. I know your situation very well. How can you have a boyfriend? I know you don't believe it. I brought everyone here today. Qin Chu Chu hugged Yi Bufan's arm and said affectionately, this is my boyfriend Yi Bufan. Xiang Yintian was stunned for a moment, looked at Yi Bufan seriously, and then showed a contemptuous sneer. Chu Chu, even if you want to find someone to pretend to be your boyfriend, you should find someone with a bit of class. Do you think I can trust you with such a guy? Seeing that he was looked down upon, Yi Bufan said, why, you look down on me? Does this need to be said? If you want others to respect you, you must have the strength to be respected. Xiang Yintian looked at him with a sarcastic face and said, tell me, do you have an 8-digit deposit in your bank? No, Yi Bufan shook his head. Then do you have an annual salary of 1 million? Yi Bufan said, I haven't graduated yet. Xiang Yintian became more and more proud. How could a poor boy who had not yet left school compare with himself, the eldest son of the Xiang family? He said with an arrogant expression, let me tell you, our Xiang family is a large enterprise with assets of over 100 million, and I am the only heir. Now I am the vice president of the group. How can you compare with me? Yes, there is really no comparison. How can a poor boy compare with the eldest young master of the Xiang family? The gap is too big. If it were me, I would choose young Master Xiang. But I think this young man is quite handsome. It's not like being a pretty boy. What's the use of being handsome? Men still have to look at their strength. Hearing the comments around him, Qin Chu Chu felt a little sad. He was just rushing to grab a shield, but he forgot about the gap between the two people. Yi Bufan and Xiang Yintian were still far behind. Did you see that? Then, this chapter is not finished, please turn the page. It's the new car I gave to Chu Chu, worth more than 3 million. It's not that I look down on you, I'm afraid you will never make so much money in your life. Xiang Yintian was very satisfied with the effect he had created. He pointed at the roses in his hand and said, this is a blue enchantress specially flown from Europe. Each one costs 500 yuan, which is much more expensive than the street stall products you have. A poor boy like you is not qualified to pursue Chu Chu, let alone compare with me. At this moment, everyone around him looked at Yi Bufan with complicated expressions, including ridicule, sympathy, and pity. No one thought that a poor boy could compete with the rich man. Yi Bufan's expression did not change at all, and he said calmly, do you mean that only rich people are qualified to pursue Chu Chu? Or do you mean that in your eyes, Chu Chu is just a money-worshipping girl who only cares about money? Of course I didn't mean it. Xiang Yintian immediately became nervous. He pursued Qin Chu Chu, on the one hand, for beauty, and on the other hand, he also wanted to climb the big tree of the Qin family. In other words, Qin Chu Chu is the eldest lady of the Qin family. How could she be interested in his few small coins? In order to prevent Qin Chu Chu from being dissatisfied, he quickly explained, Chu Chu, please don't get me wrong, I really didn't mean that. Qin Chu Chu looked at Yi Bufan with great interest. This man's performance was far beyond her expectation. In just a few words, he trampled on Xiang Yintian's proud advantage under his feet. Seeing that Qin Chu Chu didn't speak, Xiang Yintian became even more nervous and said again, Chu Chu, don't listen to his nonsense, I am completely sincere to you. I heard that you had a traffic accident yesterday. It scared me to death. Fortunately, you are okay. I heard that your car crashed very seriously, so I immediately bought you a new car. Money is secondary. What is important is my sincerity for you. I'm so touched. If only someone treated me like this, I would definitely marry him without hesitation. Young Master Xiang is so generous. The offer is 3 million. If I were the one, I would definitely agree. You're still crazy when you're rich. It's really hard to find such a good man nowadays. Hearing the comments around him, Xiang Yintian secretly breathed a sigh of relief and secretly gestured to the undercover agent placed in the crowd. Someone in the crowd immediately shouted, "Promise him." Together, together. Under this atmosphere, some onlookers also started shouting. Chapter 8 Baicao Hall. You are listening at NovelsThe. Xiang Yintian knelt on one knee, holding the blue enchantress bouquet in his hand, and said with a loving expression, "Chu Chu, from the moment I saw you, I knew that I was completely ruined in this life, my heart has been completely filled with you. Apart from you, I will never look at any woman again. Can you be my girlfriend?" After he said this, the crowd around him shouted again, "Together, together, together." Seeing how difficult this guy was, Qin Chuchu looked at Yi Bufan as if asking for help. Yi Bufan burst out laughing and said jokingly, "You are so good at acting, it would be a waste not to be an actor." Xiang Yintian shouted with an indignant look on his face, "What did you say? My sincerity to Chu Chu can be expressed in the sky. If there is a lie, there will be thunder and lightning from the sky." "Really? Then let everyone see how sincere you are." As he spoke, Yi Bufan stretched out his hand and quickly took out a white thing from Xiang Yintian's suit underwear. It was a woman's underwear, and it was an extremely sexy one, almost transparent. Holding this thing in his hands, he said with a joking expression, "Young Master Xiang, please explain, is this your sincerity? Since he is devoted to Chu Chu and has not seen another woman for half a year, where did this thing come from? You wouldn't say you use it yourself, right?" Xiang Yintian was immediately dumbfounded. He hadn't seen a woman in half a year, but he couldn't live without her every day. At the same time, he also had a special hobby. Every time he slept with a woman, he would leave a pair of underwear as a souvenir. "This was left over from last night and I haven't had time to process it yet, but this is a small T-shaped underwear, and it is made of lace. It is smaller than ordinary handkerchiefs. It can't be seen at all when it is put in a pocket. How did this kid find out?" Seeing this scene, the people around him immediately became commotion. "Here you go, I was almost deceived by this scumbag just now. It's really weird to confess your love to someone with another woman's belongings in your pocket. Shameless, so shameless. With this thing in your pocket, you can still say it in a high-sounding way. How can you be so thick-skinned? Didn't you say that there was a lightning strike from the sky? God should strike this kind of person to death." Xiang Yintian licked his dry lips and said anxiously and wisely, "Chu Chu, don't get me wrong. Yesterday a friend went out on a date and lent me this suit to show off. The things in here must have been brought back by him and have nothing to do with me. This chapter is not finished, please turn the page." "What about this? Does it have anything to do with you?" Yi Bufan threw away the little panty, then reached out and took out a pink thing from Xiang Yintian's trouser pocket. His speed was so fast that Xiang Yintian couldn't react at all. "Master Xiang, this thing should be called Durex, right? Where did it come from? Could it be that you lent your pants to a friend?" Xiang Yintian looked embarrassed, because he dated women every day, and Durex was a standard item that he carried with him all year round, but he was also extremely strange. Compared with the little Nene Durex just now, how did the kid in front of him know? Could it be that he has clairvoyant eyes? "Chu Chu, please don't get me wrong. I don't know where this thing came from. It might be my friend playing a prank on me. I really don't know anything." At this point, Xiang Yintian has no choice but to refuse to admit his guilt, otherwise all his efforts will be wasted. "Really? Then what is this?" Yi Bufan reached out and took out 2 small white pills from his other pocket. "Master Xiang, if I'm not mistaken, this is the legendary regret medicine, right? The equipment is so complete. Could it be that this is also a prank played by your friend? Qin Chu Chu saw everything in front of him and said with disgust, Xiang Yintian, please go, I don't want to see you again. Seeing that everything he had carefully planned was messed up, Xiang Yintian suddenly became angry and said, you bastard, I will kill you. At this moment, he could no longer care about showing off and hit Yi Bufan in the face with his fist. It's a pity that his body, which was hollowed out by alcohol and sex, could not be Yi Bufan's opponent. He was kicked in the abdomen when he came up, and flew out and landed on the 999 roses. Ah! Xiang Yintian let out a heartbreaking scream. Although the fall was not too heavy, those roses had thorns, and when he struggled to get up, his body was already covered with rose thorns. Boy, if you dare to steal a woman from me, just wait for me. Xiang Yintian said a harsh word and was about to run away, but before he could run a few steps, the manhole cover under his feet suddenly turned over, and he fell in with a plop. This time he was extremely embarrassed. When he climbed out of the manhole again, he was covered in garbage and smelled bad. The men he arranged among the crowd rushed over and helped the embarrassed man out of here. This chapter is not finished, please turn the page. Seeing that young Master Xiang, who was so arrogant about going to heaven just now, was now in such a mess, everyone laughed unbridled. Young man, well done, I will obey you even if I don't obey anyone. Girl, you have good eyesight. You have chosen this young man well. The onlookers were full of praise for Yi Bufan. Everyone usually dislikes the behavior of these rich young men, but there is nothing they can do about it. Just now this young man really helped them breathe a sigh of relief. Qin Chu Chu pulled Yi Bufan to the side and said with burning eyes, how did you do it? That his performance just now was so unexpected that it would not be an exaggeration to call it amazing. He trampled the eldest son of the Xiang family to death. It is estimated that after what happened today, Xiang Yintian will no longer have the shame to pursue himself. Yi Bufan smiled and said, didn't you see everything? Qin Chu Chu's cheeks were flushed and she said, I mean, how did you know that Xiang Yintian had that kind of thing in his pocket? Of course Yi Bufan would not tell anyone about his spiritual consciousness. He said, I am a Chinese medicine doctor. I have long seen that this kid has severe kidney deficiency. I can guess it just by thinking about it. Qin Chu Chu didn't pursue the matter any further and said, thank you for your help. I'll treat you to dinner after work. After saying that, she turned around and walked towards the Qin Group's office building. After such a fuss, she would be late for work soon. Yi Bufan also left here, and after a while he arrived at Baicao Hall, the largest Chinese medicine clinic in Jiangnan City. Baicao is completely decorated in antique style, looking antique and extraordinary. There is a couplet hanging at the gate. The first couplet means that no one can see it, and the second couplet means that God knows the intention. Yi Bufan stepped in and looked around. There was a pharmacy on the left and a Chinese medicine clinic on the right. Since it had just opened, there were not many customers in the pharmacy, and they had not yet reached the stage of getting medicine. There was only one medicine-picking clerk at the pharmacy, who was playing with his mobile phone at the counter. When he saw Yi Bufan come in, he just glanced at him, didn't say anything, and started playing by himself again. Yi Bufan came to the counter and said, I'll take medicine. The waiter said without raising his head, wait a moment, didn't you see that I'm busy? Yi Bufan was speechless for a while. Is beating the king considered busy? This is the legendary shop bully. He turned around and left if he wanted to, but he needed many types of medicinal materials to refine the foundation establishment pill, some of which were not very common, and other small pharmacies could not buy them all. Chapter 9 Million Reward. You are listening at NovelsThe. After waiting for more than 10 minutes, the waiter finally finished playing. He put his phone on the counter, took a sip of tea, and then said slowly, what medicine did you buy? Yi Bufan handed over the written prescription, and the waiter's eyes lit up when he saw it. Many of the items written on it are precious medicinal materials from previous years. For such a prescription, I will get at least several thousand yuan in kickbacks. He asked, are you sure you want to buy so many medicinal materials? Yi Bufan said, of course, I just don't know if you can buy them all here. Of course you can, but there are no medicinal materials that we don't have in Baicao Hall. The young man's attitude immediately improved, and he said with a smile on his face, little brother, wait a moment, I will prepare all the medicinal materials for you right away. Soon, the clerk placed a pile of medicinal materials on the counter. Bufan checked them one by one. The medicinal materials were complete and of high quality, he said. How much? That the clerk picked up the abacus and counted for a while, then said, the total is 253,200 yuan, cash or credit card. Huh? So expensive? Bufan was shocked. Although he also studied Chinese medicine at Jiangnan Medical University, he didn't know much about the price of Chinese medicine. I originally thought that the 30,000 yuan in my pocket was already considered a huge amount of money, but now it is not even a small change. I didn't expect that just a portion of the medicinal materials for refining the foundation establishment pill would require so much money, he said with some embarrassment. I'm sorry, I didn't bring that much money. The boy's originally smiling face suddenly turned cold. No money, why are you pretending to be here? You're just teasing me, aren't you? Bufan explained, I'm sorry, I just didn't expect these medicinal materials to be so expensive. What medicine should you buy if you don't know the price? The boy said dissatisfiedly, well, if you don't have that much money, just buy less, and you can't let me work for you in vain. Bufan said, that won't work. I'm just using a medicinal ingredient for a medicine. Without it, it's useless. The prescription he listed was only the dosage for a foundation-building pill. If the dosage was insufficient, it would be impossible to refine the pill. The boy frowned and said, just change the age of the medicinal materials. You must know that the price difference between 10-year-old medicinal materials and 2-year-old medicinal materials is more than 10 times. Bufan said, that won't work either. The medicinal materials I prescribed are already of the lowest age. After he said this, the little boy suddenly exploded, this won't work, that won't work either, you're just here to play tricks on me, right? Bufan apologized again and said, I'm sorry, I didn't bring enough money this time. I'll come over and buy it again when I have enough money. Bah, poor man, I don't know how long it will take when you collect enough money. The waiter angrily put away the medicinal materials, it's all my fault for being blind. I saw you were dressed like a beggar, so I shouldn't have given you the medicine. This chapter is not finished, please turn the page. The little guy was very angry because he didn't get the commission he expected. Bufan frowned. What are you talking about? I've already apologized to you for not bringing enough money. Besides, you're a guy here and it's your duty to give me medicine. What's there to complain about? Ouch, you're still angry. The boy suddenly became angry, slapped his chest, and said arrogantly, you didn't see where this place is, this is Baicao Hall, and our leader is Mr. Chow. The people who come to our place for medical treatment every day are not only rich people but also officials. Is this a place where you, a poor guy, pretend to be an uncle? You. Bufan was about to get angry, but he became discouraged after thinking about it. After all, he was also the inheritor of the ancient medical school, and he couldn't afford to argue with such a snobbish villain. Thinking of this, he turned around and walked out. Suddenly he saw a big red notice posted on the wall, which said in 4 big words, a reward of 1 million. He looked down again, and there was a paragraph written on it. Chao Xinghua accidentally obtained the Huatua golden prescription, but unfortunately it was an incomplete prescription, and there were incomplete records of the 3 medicinal materials. If anyone can complete these 3 herbs, I will be willing to give 1 million Chinese coins as a reward after I confirm that they are correct. Below the description is the prescription of Huatua Jin Fang, but it only has the first 15 ingredients, and there are 3 gaps marked at the back, obviously waiting for someone to fill it in. After seeing the reward, Bufan felt happy. Chao Xinghua knew that the head of Baicao was a veteran of beta-level traditional Chinese medicine in Taishan City, Jiangnan City. As for Huatuo's Jin Fang, he knew it very well. According to the records in the ancient medical sect's inheritance, Huatua came from the ancient medical sect, but he was not proficient in martial arts and was only an outer disciple. This Huatua golden prescription was not created by Huatua, but was passed down from the ancient medical school. I was worried that I had no money to buy medicinal materials to refine the foundation building pill, but now I have millions of wealth coming to my door. thinking of this, he picked up the pen prepared next to him and began to fill in the remaining 3 medicinal materials and the 3 blanks. "Hey, you poor guy is here to stay, aren't you? Who told you to write graffiti here?" As soon as he wrote 2 pills, the boy rushed out from the counter and pushed him aside, being provoked by this guy one after another. Even the clay bodhisattva became angry. Bufan said angrily, "What are you going to do?" That the boy shouted, "I'm talking about you, do you know where this place is? This is Baicao Hall. Can you just scribble on it?" Bufan said angrily, "Isn't this a reward? Why can't I write it?" That the guy said with a look of disdain, "Are you going to be so poor that you are crazy? $1 million reward is good, but what does it have to do with you?" Since this notice was posted, it initially attracted countless medical experts. Many people wanted to try here, but all failed without exception. This chapter is not finished, please turn the page. You must know that there are at least tens of thousands of Chinese medicinal materials in China. If you want to rely on luck to make up for the remaining 3 medicinal materials, the probability is countless times lower than buying lottery tickets. Even Mr. Chow couldn't complete this prescription, and so many famous Chinese medicine experts had failed. He didn't believe that the poor boy in front of him could do it. Bufan sneered, "Isn't this a public reward? Since the reward is offered, people should try it." The clerk shouted, "The reward is for people to try, but not just any cat or dog can come here and write graffiti. Do you think anyone can get the 1 million? That if you can complete Huatuo's golden prescription, I will be Huatuo alive." "Lu Hong, what are you arguing about?" That at this moment, an old man with a majestic expression came over from the Chinese medicine clinic. Although this man has white hair and beard, his face is rosy and he looks full of energy. He is Mr. Chow Xinghua, the head of Baicao. "Mr. Chow, you are here." After meeting Chow Xinghua, the boy named Lu Hong immediately turned into a pug. "What happened? You're making such a fuss in the store." As he spoke, Chow Xinghua glanced at the reward announcement. When he saw the 2 medicinal ingredients that Bufan filled in, he stood there with a look of astonishment. "Mr. Chow, this poor boy has no money and came to our store to cause trouble." Just now he was scribbling on the reward notice. Lu Hong didn't notice the old man's expression and was chattering beside him. Chow Xinghua didn't even look at him, and said to Bufan excitedly, "Young man, did you write these 2 medicines on the wall?" Before Bufan could speak, Lu Hong interrupted and said, "He was the one who wrote it randomly. If I hadn't stopped it in time, he would have also written a 3rd flavor." "Mr. Chow, don't be angry, I will wipe it off right away." Before Lu Hong could finish speaking, Chow Xinghua slapped him in the face with a big mouth. "You bastard, apologize to my little brother quickly." "Ah." Lu Hong looked confused and dumbfounded. Chow Xinghua said angrily again, "Did you hear that? Quickly apologize to this little brother." "I." Although Lu Hong still didn't understand what was going on, he had to listen to Mr. Chow's words and could only say respectfully, "I'm sorry." Bufan said coldly, "Today I have seen what it means to cheat customers in a shop. No one can see the cultivation, and God knows the intentions. What I am talking about is that Chinese medicine practitioners do not deceive themselves or others. This sentence you guys by Kaitang is not worthy at all. Little brother, I'm sorry, it's the old man who usually doesn't discipline me strictly. I apologize to you again." After Chow Xinghua apologized, he said eagerly, "Little brother, can you really complete this Huatuo golden formula?" Chapter 10 Huatuo's Golden Fang. You are listening at NovelsThe. Bufan said, "Yes, I happen to know this recipe." "Great, little brother, please help me complete the above recipe. The 1 million bonus will not be less." Chow Xinghua's beard jumped with excitement. From the 2 herbs that Bufan had filled in, he could tell that this young man was not simple. He had studied this prescription countless times and tried countless medicinal materials, but the properties of the medicine simply could not match the previous 15 flavors, but the 2 medicines now are completely different. They fit well with the 15 medicines before. They are probably 2 of the missing 3 medicines. Bufan shook his head and said, "I'm sorry, I was going to fill it out just now, but you people from Baicao said that this is not something that cats and dogs can write casually. It seems that we are not destined to be together, so you can ask someone else to do it. Bar. After saying that, he turned around and was about to leave. Chao Xinghua grabbed his wrist and said, "Little brother, don't leave. Don't leave. The reward announcement has been posted for so long. Except for Yi Bufan, no one else can even get a single dose of medicine. If he really leaves, where will he find someone?" Hua Tuo's golden prescription itself is a priceless treasure, and it is related to the life and death of a big man. That's why he is willing to offer a reward of 1 million yuan. Now it's hard to find someone who can complete Hua Tuo's golden prescription, and I won't let him go no matter what. After stopping Yi Bufan, he turned back and said angrily to Lu Hong, "You bastard, how dare you talk to this little brother like this? Apologize to me quickly. Let me tell you, if little brother doesn't forgive you, get out of here today." Lu Hong was completely dumbfounded. Baicao treatment was the highest in the entire medical industry in Jiangnan City, and with Chao Qinghua's prestige in the Chinese medicine industry, if he was fired from here, I'm afraid no one would use him again, which would mean he would lose his job completely. Thinking of this, he knelt down in front of Yi Bufan with a plop, raised his hand and slapped himself twice in succession. "I'm sorry, it's me who looks down on others. I have an elder and a younger child at home, and they all rely on me to support them. Please forgive me this time." Yi Bufan sighed, for such a person, if he had known this, why would he do it in the first place? However, since he obtained the inheritance of ancient medicine, his knowledge and vision have improved to a higher level, and he is too lazy to care about such a small person. He waved his hand and said, "Okay, get up." "Thank you, little brother, thank you." Lu Hong got up from the ground with great gratitude. Chao Xinghua said again, "Didn't the little brother just come to buy medicine? No matter what medicine you buy, pack it all. This chapter is not finished, please turn the page. It's always free." Lu Hong said, "Mr. Chao, the total amount of medicinal materials is more than 200,000. Chao Xinghua shouted, "Go if you are told, there is so much nonsense. Don't be angry, old man, I'm going now." Lu Hong hurried to the counter and took all the medicines he had just wrapped. Just now he was thinking about taking someone else's kickback, but now it's better. He gave it all away without taking a penny, and he almost lost his job. Why would he provoke others if he had known this? With this thought in his mind, he sent all the medicinal materials to Yi Bufan. Chao Xinghua said, "Little brother, these medicines will be treated as my apology to you. Please help me complete Hua Tuo's golden formula." As he spoke, he looked eager. "Mr. Chao, as the Taishan Beidou in Jiangnan's traditional Chinese medicine community, has already reached this level, so naturally Yi Bufan can't say anything else." He picked up the pen and completed the last remaining medicine, Trifolium truncatula. "It's completed, it's finally completed." Seeing Hua Tuo's completed gold prescription on the wall, Chao Xinghua trembled with excitement. He got this prescription by chance, but because it was so old, many of the handwriting on the prescription were unclear, and it was just a remnant prescription. Knowing the preciousness of Hua Tuo's golden prescription, he spent a lot of effort to identify the first 15 medicinal herbs, but the latter 3 herbs were really impossible to complete this time. In order to treat the big man's illness and make up for the shortcomings in his heart, he offered 1 million as a reward. The announcement had been posted for a few days, but many people were helpless. Just when he was completely disappointed and was about to withdraw the announcement, he met this young man. Yi Bufan looked indifferent. This so-called Hua Tuo golden prescription was very common in the ancient medical school and was not a great prescription. Chao Xinghua was excited for a while, took the prescription off the wall, and suddenly his expression changed. After pondering for a while, he said, "Little brother, there is something wrong with this prescription. The properties of the 3-leaf Xilan and the Angelica in front are conflicting, and the 2 medicines cannot be used at the same time." He knew the properties of Chinese medicine very well and immediately saw something wrong with this prescription. Lu Hong, who was accompanying him, couldn't help but feel moved. If he had known that this young man would not be able to complete Hua Tuo's golden prescription, he would immediately snatch back the medicinal materials worth more than 200,000 yuan when the old man gave the order. Yi Bufan said calmly, "Mr. Chao is right, these 2 medicines cannot be used at the same time, but the fault is not Xilan trifoliate." but the Angelica de Hurica in front, this medicine in Huatua's golden prescription. This chapter is not finished, please turn the page. It is Atractylodes macrocephala rather than Angelica de Hurica. Although the two are similar, their medicinal properties are still very different. Baizhu. As an expert in traditional Chinese medicine, Chao Xinghua naturally would not believe what others said. He studied the prescription seriously for a while, with a look of enlightenment on his face. There was only one white character on the leftover prescription that could be clearly seen, and the character behind it was really blurry. He speculated for a long time that it should be Angelica de Hurica, but he was still wrong. Baizhu. It's indeed Baizhu. Now it's all clear. After replacing Angelica de Hurica with Atractylodes macrocephala, the pharmacology of the entire prescription was completely understood without any flaws. Lu Hong was disappointed for a while, and at the same time he was extremely surprised. Who is this young man? It is unique that he can give advice to Mr. Chao in terms of Chinese medicine. It seems that this person must not be offended in the future. Little brother, you are indeed an expert. The old man really admires you. Chao Xinghua said excitedly, little brother, I haven't asked you your name yet. Who do you study under? He had visited famous Chinese medicine experts before, but no one could complete Huatuo's golden formula. Bufan could do it at such a young age, so it was obvious that his master was definitely not an ordinary person, which made him immediately want to make friends with him. My name is Bufan. Master, he was a reclusive master and has passed away. Oh. A look of regret flashed in Chao Xinghua's eyes, and then he said, little brother, you helped me make up for Huatuo's golden prescription. Now it's time for the old man to fulfill his promise. He called the steward over from the clinic and presented a check worth 1 million to Bufan. Bufan took the check and said, Mr. Chao, you don't get paid for your merits. The medicinal materials just now should be deducted from the bonus. What's this? The old man said he wouldn't charge me any money. Isn't this a slap in my face? Chao Xinghua said, Huatuo's gold prescription is a priceless treasure, and adding another 200,000 yuan is nothing, and you helped me a lot this time. I gathered the Huatuo golden formula and waited to save my old friend's life. If it were a few days later, it would really be too late. Bufan had a good impression of this old man. As a veteran in the field of traditional Chinese medicine, he had no airs and was straightforward and well matched to his temper. He said, Mr. Chao, do you want to use Huatuo's golden prescription to treat people's illnesses? Chao Xinghua nodded and said, yes, an old friend of mine has lung disease. The condition is very serious. He has seen countless famous doctors but they are unable to do anything. If we can't get together Huatuo's golden prescription, I'm afraid he won't have 3 or 2 days to live. Bufan frowned and said, old man, you are wrong. Huatuo Jinfang cannot cure diseases at all.